Hello, my friends. We meet again. Been a while. Where should we begin? Today, I'd like to talk about the negativity surrounding Mortal Kombat 1. Now, lately, well, throughout the lifespan of the game, people have been very negative about it, but lately it's been, pretty insane. People starting to go back to MK11 and just overall shitting on the state of the game and praying for a patch, stuff like that, praying for a new game. And me personally, I'm an MK1 enjoyer. You might say, well, Tweedy, you enjoy MK1 because you play T1000 and you're like doing well competitively. Well, I mean, the first year plus of the game, I didn't really compete that much. Life was getting in the way, stuff like that. And I still consider myself an MK1 enjoyer. But to be fair, I've enjoyed all the NRS games I've played so far. Me personally, before these games, I would play sports games online, like Madden, stuff like that. And those games, like, you would lose matches if you went for an interception or try to get like a hit stick fumble, and it either works or doesn't. It's up to chance. So like compared to that, these games are like when I see people criticize these well thought out fighting games, it's like going into a 5-star restaurant and you're used to eating McDonald's McDoubles and seeing someone be like, my caviar is not quite up to my tastes. Like, I'm just used to such garbage coming from like Madden, 2K, stuff like that. I used to play like the UFC games online. Whenever those would have a tournament, rarely. You would get like randomly rocked by one punch sometimes. Or 100 punches wouldn't kill him. You know what I mean? So I'm coming from that to these games. So I'm pretty easy to please, to be honest. But the main critiques I've been seeing about MK1 are the cameos and our overpowered DLC characters. Now, let's investigate both those points. So, talking about overpowered DLC characters. So the last tournament, which was a combatant event. Now, in the scene right now, there's demigod events, which are the big majors. And then there's combatant events, which are still pretty big, but not quite as big. The last combatant event, which just took place, Scorpion Prox ended up winning. And he played Baraka, Havoc throughout the tournament. And then he won Grand Finals with T1000. So you can give like 1/3, maybe half credit to T1000 win that tournament. So there's already some evidence in favor of the OP DLC winning. So let's go to the tournament before, CEO. Now, Online Kale ended up winning Grand Finals with Kung Lao, but most of the sets throughout the tournament he won with Homelander. So there's another point in favor of DLC characters being OP. And then you go to the tournament before that. Comma Breaker Sonic won with Cyrax. All Cyrax, so, not looking too good for defending MK1 right now. And then the tournament before that, I want to say, was that the Brazil one that Ytex won with Sector? Again, DLC. And then before that, Connie Monty won Vianality with Sindel, but he did play Homelander throughout the tournament. And even in the Sindel win, he used Tremor Cameo, which is a OP DLC. So yeah, all the tournaments so far this season have been won by OP DLC. Or in the case of Blink Respawn, it was like half T1000, half base roster. But in a way, even in that Scorpion Prox run, like, Havoc is kind of like OP DLC. Kinda. Like, they made him a whole new character with the last update. At least you don't have to buy him, though. You just have to do the story. So that's a fair point. The only thing I would say to kind of counteract that is MKX was like that the whole time. So Tanya came out about a month into the game, a month and a half, and was the best character in the game until the end of the season. And then once she got nerfed, the new DLC came out, and then Alien was the best character in the game until the last patch of the game. But there was no more like ESL or EVO or anything like that for the game after that patch. So DLC ruled that game. And even outside of that, whenever Tremor and Predator came out, they were the best characters in the game for like a few months. So that game, during its life cycle, was ran by DLC. Now, Injustice 2 was a little bit better about it. Obviously, Starfire was really strong. Starfire was... I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I know Sonic won tournaments with Black Manta, but Black Manta was never like that. You know what I mean? Like, Sonic was just good. But Starfire, I would say, was like top 5 by the end of the game, but like still like Catwoman and stuff won the most tournaments. So, yeah, DLC didn't really run Injustice 2, but Injustice 2 had its own problems, right? Like zoning, stuff like that. And then MK11, now the first year of MK11 wasn't really ran by DLC. The DLC was actually kind of underwhelming tier list wise. like Shang, Nightwolf, Terminator. But then Joker came out. Sonic ended up winning Final Combat Joker. Now, I would honestly say Joker was not as OP of a DLC as these others that I've named that from MKX and MK1. But it was good enough to win Final Combat, right? And it came out like suddenly. Sonic picked it up, boom. Now, but after that, though, Fujin came out. And Fujin, whenever the customs patch dropped, to where you could put whatever moves you wanted as long as there wasn't confliction, Fujin was the best character in the game by far. And to this day, there was never another patch. So NRS has always released OP DLC. You know what I mean? Sometimes DLC will be like a dud, competitively, stuff like that, like Rambo, characters like that. But they've always released OP DLC. The only game that I've been around for where it wasn't like that necessarily was Injustice 2. It was really just Starfire that was like meta changing. But even still, she wasn't like top one. Like every tournament was won by Starfire. You know what I mean? But that game had its own issues, you know, so that game had problems as well. I just feel like there's kind of like rose-tinted glasses, right? Because people will complain about something like that, and then they'll be like, well, I'm going to go back to MK11. I'm going to go back to MKX, stuff like that. And to be fair, like those games, they're not really played in like a pro comp anymore. They're not played for like an Evo main spot anymore. So I think people just playing those games for fun kind of shines like a better light on them, which I feel like could happen with MK1 as well, you know. But right now, you know, we're in the midst of the final pro comp season. At least that's what we're speculating. We don't think there's going to be another one. So people are going with the OP DLC, and there's a lot of them right now. I would say this one has the most abundance of it, right? Because those other games I point out, it would be like, it's Tanya season. Oh, it's Alien season. Oh, Tremor and Predator got like a short, you know, reign at the top before they got nerfed. Or like, oh, Fujin, you know what I mean? But on this game, it's like, dude, like, most of the top tiers are DLC. Like, Cyrax, Homelander, T-1000 Sector. Even the characters where they aren't DLC, they're rocking a DLC cameo, like Havoc top tier. Who do people use with them? Movado, Tremor. Sindel top tier. Who do people use with her? Tremor. Scorpion top tier, in my opinion. Who do people use with them? Farah. You know what I mean? So the top tier is littered with DLC. Like, I can't even... Johnny, arguably still top tier. Who do people use with him? Tremor, you know? So that's definitely a fair argument. I would just argue that it's kind of always been like that. It's probably worse now, though. Because before, it wasn't like one DLC might stand out as the best in the game, like Fujin, Alien, Tanya. But it wasn't the whole top tier wasn't DLC. You know what I mean? Like it is now, you know? It's pretty crazy. And as far as cameos go, I personally don't mind cameos because it's not as complicated as like an assist game normally, because in those games you gotta tag the other character in, you gotta learn the other character. And this game, it's just like you're learning some different moves, and another character happens to be throwing them out for you. Like, it's not... People overcomplicate it, in my opinion. But I understand from, like, a casual point of view, especially, like, a loyal MK fan, it's kind of goofy. I understand that. Like, it's goofy, like, having another character come in. Like, Mortal Kombat's supposed to be 1v1, you know? And obviously it is still 1v1. But just the fact that another character runs in to throw those moves is goofy-ass shit. So I understand why people don't like that. And I'm sure that won't return, right? Because so many people complain about it. Like, every video I do almost, someone's in the comments talking shit about cameos. If I do a video that's about, like, MK1 not being good or whatever, like a discussion like this, there's hella comments talking shit about cameos. And I fully understand. I fully get it. My friend Kors actually did a really well-edited video on cameos the other day. I'm going to go ahead and link that in the description. But, yeah, so both points against MK1 that I've been hearing are fair. Cameos suck. I wouldn't say cameos suck, but they're just kind of unnecessary, I think. They should just make it like a wider moveset for characters, maybe. And then it'll feel more like MK. And then also DLC run in the game. That's definitely true. Now, as far as what they could do about it, obviously they could release like a balance patch. They can nerf the DLCs, buff the base rosters, and obviously for cameos, they can just not bring them back in the next game. It's too late for MK1, right? Like, They're not just going to take cameos out of the game. That doesn't even make sense. Like, because so many of the characters are designed around cameos. Like, imagine if you just took cameos out. Imagine like how low tier like Scorpion would be. You know, he's so cameo reliant. Or like Baraka. And then you have a character like Sector or a character like Johnny who aren't really that cameo reliant in comparison. Like they can, like cameo stuff for them is just like icing on top of the cake. You know, whereas like Scorpion and Baraka, they need a fucking cameo to plug up the holes in their gameplay. And it doesn't make them worse characters necessarily. Of course, Baraka is right now, buff Baraka. But, you know, they kind of need it in their gameplay. They're just kind of designed like that. And some characters are, you know. That's just how the game is. So they can't really take cameos out. And it would make sense. They just, you know, not for the next game. And I would like to see them get away from, like, variations, custom moves. Because this is all an evolution of itself, right? If you think about it, right? Like, variations, they added different moves to the characters. You could pick between 3. And then it got expanded with custom moves in MK11, where you could kind of mix and match. It started out like MKX, where you pick 3 variations, but then they expanded it to where you could just mix and match, put whatever you wanted. And then cameos are kind of the evolution of that, where every character can put the same moves mixed and matched on themselves using a cameo character. You know what I mean? So it's really, cameos really started in MKX, and they're like the evolved Pokemon of variations, if you think about it. Now, people don't like where the evolution went. A lot of times with Pokemon, people like, you know, they like the first form or the second form more than the third form. You know what I'm saying? So, and I feel like that's how a lot of people think. A lot of people think cameos are gay, you know, and, you know, I don't necessarily agree, but, you know, they I wouldn't mind if they took them out. You know what I mean? That's the thing about cameos too, is a lot of people hate them, but a lot of people, I don't see anyone like fighting for them to stay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind them, but I'm not going to be like, man, y'all can't take out cameos, please, man, please. You know, so I don't mind if they get rid of it in the next game. Like I said, I would like to see them get rid of all that shit, all the evolutions of the system. Variations, custom moves, cameos. To be honest, the best version of this kind of system they've been evolving was MKX variations. Because if you think about it, bro, dude, in MK11, you know what I hated? I hated being a Frost player and seeing that I couldn't put together certain moves, or that certain moves weren't allowed to be put on. It's like, what is this dumb shit? Like, how about you just make the character a whole character? You know? How about you just make a character a whole character? I would have enjoyed that, you know? So that was one thing about MK11 that kind of annoyed me. I obviously played Gears in that game. He was the same way. Like, you couldn't fucking put certain moves with certain moves. It's like, what is this bullshit? Just make him a whole character. You know? That I don't get it. So yeah, I would like to see that. Like, I like the way Injustice does it. Like, Injustice, they're whole characters, and they have, like, traits, which are just part of their moveset. It's not some weird, like, oh, you can't use this one. You can't use this one with that one. Or, like, you gotta have this character coming in behind you, fucking, you're Robin coming in. You know, it's not that goofy shit. Obviously, though, a lot of people have... See, that's why I would like another go at Injustice, personally, because people hate it for, like, certain reasons, right? Like, zoning and stuff like that. But here's one thing y'all gotta understand. So, people always complain about the current game. Like, I've been around 10 years, right? People always complain about the current game. Like, people acted like MKX was garbage, and they were going back to MK9, even going back to Injustice 1. Then Injustice 2 and MK11 came out. People acted like MKX was the best thing they ever fucking played. And you see the same thing now. Dude, when we were in, like, year 2, 3, and 4 of MK11, people were so fucking sick of that game. And now you see people being like, fuck MK1, I love MK11. You see people streaming MK11, doing events for MK11 again. It's always like rose-tinted glasses, stuff like that. And for that reason, the reason I say all that is because, so the first Injustice game was super zony, right? Super zone heavy, people didn't like it. But then MKX came out, and people hated it, right? Because they always hate the current game. And that game was the most rushed down game they've had, like run in your face mix. And it kind of sent a message to NRS to, like, bring zoning back, you know what I mean? And I remember there was even an interview where, like, I think it was Ed Boon was like, zoning's back with Injustice 2. Because believe it or not, that's what people asked for. because they were so sick of MKX and how it played, because they always get sick of the current game. But that was a mistake, obviously. Like, bringing zoning back is not a good idea. Just because people are sick of the current rushdown game, that doesn't mean they should bring back zoning. You know, like, casuals hate zoning. Zoning is like cameos to me. Casuals hate it. Intermediate level players hate it. Some high level players hate it. And the people that like zoning, like, I like zoning, but I could take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Like, I like zoning. I played Starfire. I have fun shooting projectiles, but I could take it or leave it. Like, I like playing Tekken. I main T1000 right now. T1000 is the least zoning character ever. Like, his whole game plan at all times is to get in your face. So I could take it or leave it. So I think if they do another Injustice, dude, it's taken forever for me to get to this point. But I think if they do another Injustice, they should make it like mostly rushdown, like almost no zoning. If they bring some characters back that were zoning and it's legacy, just give them like a whole new kit, make them a whole new character, or just like take away their zoning stuff, enhance their rushdown capabilities, their neutral capabilities. I think if they do Injustice, they should do that. They should make it like pure rushdown type of game. I think it could be really cool. But if not, they might do MK. As I was saying, MKX. Yeah, they might do MK again. I don't know though. But yeah, y'all, I've been seeing this negativity about MK1. It is founded. Is that the right word? It is truthful, I would say. Like I said, people are always negative about the current game, but the complaints I'm seeing about MK1, they are valid, right? Like, DLC is running the game right now. Cameos are doing too much, right? Cameos are doing too much. I would agree with that. Even though I don't mind it, I understand people's point of view. And that's basically my video, right? Like, I just kind of made this video to ramble about this current topic. Didn't really know what to make a video about today. And yeah, y'all. Appreciate everyone. Much love. Hope everyone has a splendid day. And yeah, much love. If you watch my videos, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm gonna put more work into these videos after Final Combat, y'all. After I'm done grinding for that.